Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the new nominating contract packs on eFootball as well as the 2 new match pass players. As always, I'll put timestamps in the description for each player and section, so if you want to hear about a particular player, then just click in the description, there'll be a link to take you straight to them. I'm going to look at the 3 stars first and then give you my recommendations, then I'll do likewise for the 4 stars and for the 5 stars. So, before we get into it, I'm going to try not to turn this into a massive rant, but I just want to say, for months now, we've been complaining about the fact that most of us don't get to take part in some of these league challenges, like the Turkish League Challenge and the Japanese, the Brazilian, the Mexican. So after all these months of complaints, after the Japanese and Brazilian leagues finish, what do? They take away those 2 packs, and this time we get 1 pack, and it's a pack of players that can't be used in any league challenge because they don't have a club affiliation. I mean, I would call it lazy or ill thought out, but I don't think that quite does justice. This pack is garbage. It's a slap in the face. What it looks like to me is, when they occasionally release packs from Asian nations, they give us like an AI challenge and we get free spins on each of them. And it looks like you've done the challenges, got your free spins, and you go to your squad, you find all the random 3 and 4 star players you picked up, and you release them all. It looks like that, except they've not come from free spins. You have to earn them now from Match Pass. You have to play matches, maybe even pay for Match Pass, and then these are some of the rewards you get. And they're still garbage. So, yeah, I'm not going to rant for too long on it, but yeah, like I say, that pack from me is just absolute garbage. I'm really not happy about it. But anyways, as I mentioned, I'm going to start with all the 3 stars. So I'll start with the one from the Turkish. You've got 1 3-star in the Turkish League. Where is he? Let's get into it. It is Veysel Sarı. I hope I've said that right. So we've got a 3-star build-up centre-back. He has a face scan. He's about 6 foot tall, standard form. And he's kind of all right for a 3-star. He's not brilliant. He's not the quickest. He's not the strongest. He's not brilliant in the air. Does he have aerial superiority? He does. So they have added that. They've added heading and aerial superiority. It's the first time I've had a featured version of him. In fact, no, it's not. We've had one in a Turkish League pack. I'm not sure which pack that was. It looks like it was maybe in the Turkish League. Maybe that Showtime Turkish League pack. It's a trainable one. It's pretty similar, to be honest. We've got more on his defensive attributes, but less on his kind of athletic attributes. It's what they often do with these trending centre-backs. Similar overall, though. And yeah, and compared to his GP card, they've kind of nerfed his defensives a bit, but the left and right columns are boosted. That's what they often tend to do with these player of the week and player of the month centre-backs. But yeah, like I say, they've added heading and aerial superiority. He's really got most of the skills you need for a centre-back: interception, blocker, sliding tackle, acrobatic, fighting spirit down there, but he is lacking one. That's man marking. That's quite an important one. So man marking is a big miss. And like I say, even with aerial superiority, 6 foot, jumping 82, he's not going to be great in the air. Physical contact, I mean, he's kind of borderline. That's all right. On a 3-star, I think that's fine. But when are you going to use this guy? You know, if you get the Turkish League Challenge, it could be a decent one for that, to be fair. I mean, the awareness and aggression are pretty high. Tackling is not too bad. Engagement's a bit on the low side. Kicking power is a bit low. Yeah, he's kind of just a pretty meh centre-back, to be honest. Even for a 3-star contract, he does have some decent attributes, but they're a bit on the low side. A little bit slow, a little bit weak, a little bit lacking aerially. Engagement's a bit low, so a few dodgy attributes there, but nothing too terrible. I think he could be usable if you do get that Turkish League Challenge. I certainly wouldn't use him as a right-back. He's not got the technical ability or the pace for that, so that's completely out of the question. But as a centre-back, like I say, some decent attributes, a few a bit iffy. And he's got most of the skills he needs, just lacking man marking. So, yeah, you could do worse for a 3-star contract, but it's not a brilliant one, to be fair. If you do get the Turkish League Challenge, you may well be worth picking up, and he could be pretty usable for that, but I couldn't really say much more than that, to be honest. It's not a brilliant card in for a 3-star contract. So, we'll now go over to this wonderful AFC Asian Qualifiers pack, because we've got some 3-stars in here. So let's start with the centre back. So we've got Rustamjon Ashurmatov. So if you often rock an Uzbekistan squad in divisions, happy days, you got a new centre back. He does. Is that a face scan? No, he doesn't have a face scan. He's another build-up centre back, just standard form. Again, I'll jump over to eFootball Hub and see how good he is on eFootball Hub. So where is eFootball Hub? It's right here. Okay, let's train this guy up. So how good is he? Fully boosted with the game plan boost. He's not too bad. So we've got some strong defensive attributes there. Engagement's a bit low again. Pretty similar to what the first guy's was, Veysel Sarı in the Turkish League. We're looking with the game plan boost on eFootball Hub, of course. The awareness, the tackling, and aggression are very decent. Again, though, aerial and physical strength lacking. He's 6'2", he's a bit taller. He does have aerial superiority, but as you can see, apart from that, all he has is blocker. So badly lacking skills here. If you sign a 3-star centre-back from Uzbekistan, are you going to use all your skill trainers to fill out his skills? I'm not sure. Sure, if you're from Uzbekistan, or if this guy plays for your club, then yeah, you may well do. But yeah, the skills really killed this guy before we even consider the attributes, to be honest. But if you do look at the attributes, yes, most of the defenses down the middle are strong, but lacking a bit physically and aerially. Pace is all right. Kicking power's a bit low again. Stamina's a bit low as well. He may get tired, so yeah, it's not a brilliant one. We've had one previous one, same style card, so it must have been the most recent Uzbekistan pack. Not quite as good as this one, so it is an upgrade if you got that one. And he's had a decent boost from his GP card, but like I say, even for a 3-star contract, yes, he got some pretty good attributes down the middle there, but he's not great down the left. He's not got great kicking power, physically and aerially a bit weak. Stamina's a bit low, badly lacking his skills. I'm not going to talk for this guy any longer because even for a 3-star contract, it's just not a particularly great card, really. And next, we will look at our next 3-star. It is Zhang Yuning. I hope I've said that right. So we got a goal poacher centre forward. He don't think that's a face scan. Is that a face scan? I'm not sure. Some of the fake faces are half decent. But yeah, 3-star goal poacher centre forward, again standard form. We're going to jump over to eFootball Hub again to see how good this guy is. So max him out, boost him in the game plan. He's all right again. He's not terrible, but again, we're looking at a 3-star striker. He's not got a lot of speed for a goal poacher. Acceleration is decent. He's got really good balance, and his physical contact's not bad actually. So credit where it's true. He's got some qualities. On the ball, he's not great. Be very careful if you get on the ball with this guy. Awareness a little bit on the low side. Finishing definitely on the low side. Skills, first time shot. So he's got the most important one, but that's it. So yeah, again, you're going to be using skill trainers on this guy. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure some folks from China might be a fan of this guy. I'd be very pleased to pick up. You may well want to put skills on him. But for most of us, don't think it'd be worth it. And I'm not sure how good the attributes are, really, to be honest, even for a 3-star contract. Yeah, like I say, the physical contact and balance is really good. I wonder if we could even nudge that physical contact up a bit. Probably not, to be fair, because we can't really spare the points from elsewhere. That's the problem with these 3-star cards. They're just not particularly good. There's really not a lot you can do because you can't spare points from finishing. If anything, you want that to be higher. You'd want the awareness to be higher. I mean, being realistic, you'd want to take away all the aerial. You just need some more speed. I don't think it's worth it, to be honest. I just don't think it's worth it. You just can't. If you spare enough points from one place to make him good enough elsewhere, then just becomes too weak somewhere else. So yeah, for a 3-star striker, he's got the most important skill, even if he's got no others. The physical contact and balance, even if you mess around and take a few points away, are pretty good for a 3-star striker. That is a positive. You can get a bit more pace on him, but the awareness of finishing aren't too great. So yes, if you rock a China squad, if you're from China, then this could be a pretty fun card for you to have. You might be pretty pleased to have it, but as I've already said, if you can't use this guy in league challenges, then for most of us, I just don't see any great need for him, because for a 3-star contract, he might be terrible, but it's just not really going to give you much value, in my opinion. So yeah, another one where I just don't think it's going to be that much, a worthwhile card for many people, really. And now on to the last of our 3-stars. We've got Ali Jasim. No face scan. He's a right winger from Iraq. Can play up front as well. Let's jump over to eFootball Hub. How good is this Ali Jasim card? So we have had a previous one, and again, it's got the same card design. So I guess it's in the most recent pack from Iraq. But the previous one's actually better than this. So this is a bit of a downgrade if you got that previous one. Let's have a look then. Maxed out, fully boosted. Yeah, he's not too bad. Kind of at first glance, he looks like he's probably the pick of these 3-stars. What the skills are telling us. Oh dear. So he got double touch, soul control, and gamesmanship. Great. So the concern with this guy is obvious. It's the end product. His passing's not great. His finishing's not great. He doesn't have any passing or shooting skills. So you're going to need to give him some skills to beef up his end product. He's decent enough on the ball. He's got pretty decent pace. His balance isn't too great, to be fair. Good stamina. Yeah, are you going to get much use out of this guy? I don't know. Looking at his GP card, he's had a reasonable boost with his GP card. Mainly the end product's been boosted, even though it's still not great. Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult with these cards. The question is how much use you're going to get out of them, and you have to factor in the fact that you can't use them in league challenges. So, what kind of level are you going to be playing with these guys? What are you going to be coming up against? If they gave us some kind of challenge where you could rock these kind of, like with this Southeast Asian Championship, whatever it's been called recently. If we had an event for that, that could have been fun with some of these cards. But building squads for Uzbekistan, China, Iraq, or whatever. But unless you're from Iraq and you rock an Iraq squad in divisions, I don't see the point of this card. It's just not going to be much use to anyone. So yeah, probably the pick of the 3 stars so far, but he's still lacking in product. So I can't really recommend him for anyone. I just don't see anyone getting any value out of this guy really, unless, like I say, you rock an Iraq squad in divisions or in national team challenges for whatever reason. But yeah, centre forward, might as well just see if he can be made into a decent centre forward while we're here. But yeah, not unsurprisingly, he can't really. Even putting 8 on shooting, only goes to 78 on finishing, and 12 on dexterity, only 83 attacking awareness. So you can't really make him a particularly good striker. So yeah, I'll leave him on the auto allocation for right wing. He does have some qualities. He's got a bit of pace and ability on the ball, but lacking in product and lacking skills. So for me, probably the pick of the 3 stars, but still not a brilliant one. So like I say, again, if these cards are going to be usable in league challenges, then I don't really see a great deal of value to come from them, because even for a 3-star, and even with this guy being, in my opinion, probably the pick of the 3 stars that we've looked at, I still don't think many people are going to get any value out of it. So here are my 3-star recommendations. None. We've got 4 3 stars, only one that can be used in any league challenges, and that's the centre-back from Turkey that's not particularly great. I think it's an absolutely terrible selection of 3 stars. I'm not going to talk anymore about it. I just can't recommend any because I don't see anyone getting any real use out of it. The Turkish centre-back maybe will give you a bit of value in the Turkish League Challenge if you're lucky enough to still get to take part in that, but outside of that, a load of rubbish. Now we move on to the 4 stars. Again, we'll start in this Turkish League pack. Got a few in here, so who are we going to start with? Let's start with Oğuz Aydın. Hopefully I've said that right. So, this guy's got a face scan. He's a whole player from Fenerbahce. He can play on the left or the right. So, they've actually changed his positions. They've added left mid and right mid. They've made him fully proficient left mid and right mid. Doesn't always have those positions. His registered position is normally a left wing. Changed his registered position to left mid. So now left mid, right mid, left wing and centre forward. He's normally a prolific winger. Now a whole player. They put his weaker foot usage up by 2. And his weaker foot accuracy is up by 1. So that's interesting. He's a lot more 2-foot than he normally is. There was a previous version of him in a Turkish League pack that wasn't as good as this one. So this looks like the best version we've had of him. Looks like only the second version we've had. And yeah, he looks all right. So from his GP card, they've boosted him. Where they've boosted him mainly? Mainly acceleration, balance, physical contact, defending. His passing and shooting, so a bit more in product than normal. And yeah, he looks alright on the whole. He's decent on the ball. Pace is decent. He's kind of got a lot of decent attributes. Nothing amazing, but no major weaknesses. The balance is a bit on the low side. But let's have a look at the skills. What they've done with the skills. So they've thrown in cut behind and turn. First time shot is new. Through passing is new. Pinpoint cross is new. So they have boosted this guy's end product. So if you're a fan of this guy, if you've already got his GP card, then, or that previous version, it's not as good as this one. This does look like an upgrade. He's a super sub as always. He's already got super sub. So long range curler, long range shooting, first time shot. He's got shooting skills and then through passing, pinpoint crossing. Could be a nifty super sub. Play on either wing. He's right footed. Lofted past 76. I don't think you're going to want this guy on the right hand side putting crosses in. I don't think his crossing is going to be good enough for that to be worthwhile. Just spotted his stamina as well. It's a bit on the low side. So with the super sub skill, this guy might be best used as a super sub. Otherwise, he's going to get tired fairly early in the game. But yeah, kicking power reasonable. Bit of pace about him. Good dribbling. The attacking awareness and the finishing are both hitting 80 with the game plan boost. And he's got some shooting skills. So I think primarily off the left wing, cutting onto his right foot to take chances. This guy could be pretty useful for a 4-star contract. He's not bad. He's not brilliant. But yeah, I think he certainly could be worse. With the skills they've given him, the through passing and crossing will improve his low and lofted pass, even though they still won't be brilliant. But the finishing with the shooting skills, bit better. He's got the awareness as well, which goes well with his whole player playing style. That playing style will be active left and right midfield. It won't be active left wing or up front. You can certainly play him without an active playing style. I think the best way to use him would be either left wing without an active playing style or left midfield as a whole player. making those attacking runs. I think he could be pretty nifty. Not brilliant, like I say, the balance is a bit low, tight possession is a bit on the low side, and the end product could be a bit higher, but I think all things considered for a 4-star contract, especially if you get the Turkish League challenge, this guy could be useful. It could be useful to have, especially as a super sub. So yeah, not a bad start for the 4 stars this. I don't think it's an amazing card, but I think with the skills they've given him, the fact he's got a little bit of end product about him with the pace and dribbling, whole player playing styles, especially if you're playing left midfield, could be a useful one. Centre forward out of the question for me. The attacking awareness and finishing nowhere near high enough, but yeah, like I say, certainly on the left wing, cutting inside as an inverted winger with the ability he's got, a bit of end product. I think, and I would say, like I say, primarily as a super sub with that low stamina. Otherwise, you have to sub him off pretty early. But yeah, not a brilliant card, but it could be a useful one for the 4-star contract, especially if you get that Turkish League challenge. If you don't get the Turkish League challenge, probably unlikely he's going to be great value to you. But I think we're used to that from these packs by now. Most of us are finding with some or all of these packs that we don't get the league challenges. But yeah, I don't think this is a bad card for 4-star. It's a pretty steady one. So who should we go to next? Let's go to Olivier Kemen, former Newcastle United Academy player. So he's going straight in my Newcastle past and present ranks. So they've changed it to whole player. Kemen is normally a box-to-box centre midfielder. They've made him a whole player attacking midfielder. And they've very generously given him a semi-proficient position of SS. So if you're thinking about position training this card, despite the fact that you can't, that's great news. But yeah, he's a whole player attacking mid. He's still got centre mid, of course. So you basically got defensive mid, centre mid, attacking mid. Whole player playing style will be active attacking mid and centre mid. It won't be active defensive mid. I wouldn't use him as a defensive mid though. He's defensively not great. He does have interception, but that's about it defensively. So yeah, you could put him at defensive mid, but I don't think it'd be effective there. I think you're looking at this guy very much as a centre mid or an attacking mid. It's the first feature version we've had of Kemen. I've been waiting for him to go in one of these league packs, to be honest, but I'll take a player of the month one. This looks like a pretty neat card actually for a 4-star. It doesn't look like a bad one at all. From his GP card, the boost mainly has gone on acceleration, physical contact, balance, attacking awareness is up a bit, ball control type possession up a bit, low passes up, and finishing. Interesting. What have they done? We've got unwavering form as well. Good. This is looking decent actually for a 4-star. What have they done skill-wise? They have taken away dipping shot, and they've given him one-touch pass, no-look pass, and interception. So I'm guessing this guy created a goal with a no-look pass. I've not seen that, but I might have to look it up. But yeah, on the whole though, pretty good selection of skills for a centre mid or attacker mid, to be honest. So soul control is a nice one to have. Rising shot, if you like that kind of thing. I'm not a fan, but I think that's mainly because I use manual shooting and don't put many points on finishing. My shots will end up flying about 50 meters over the bar. But long range shooting, one-touch pass and through passing. Obviously, they've thrown in no-look pass, which I think is one of the more useless skills, to be honest, but whatever. But then we've got track back, interception, fighting spirit. Like I said, I don't see this guy as a defensive mid. I think he's built more to be playing further up the pitch, but having track back and interception as well as fighting spirit and a bit of defensive ability there and some physical strength, they could be nice bonuses to have on this guy when you use him as an attacking mid or even an attack-minded centre mid. He's not brilliant on the ball. That's one downside with this guy. That's probably the one area where he's a little bit lacking, to be honest. And the attacking awareness is a bit low for a whole player as well. But the passing is nice. Yes, the lofted pass isn't brilliant, but low pass, if you get an 88 rated manager, you're hitting 90 for low pass in your game plan. This is a 4-star card, remember? And he's got one-touch pass and through passing. And down this right-hand side here, all in the 80s, and then stamina at over 90 before your game plan boost. Athletically, this guy looks great. So, yeah, attacking awareness a bit on the low side for a whole player. On the ball, not too bad, but I'd like some of these attributes to be. I mean, I'd like all three of these to be a bit higher, to be honest. But he's got the low pass. I think on the whole, this is a tidy-looking 4-star card, and it's an interesting one. The profile he's got, because he's not a kind of, he's not like most attacking mids. Most attacking mids, you expect them to be kind of better on the ball. But this guy's got that bonus of being athletically pretty good and having a bit of defensive ability. And like I say, with trap back, interception, fighting spirit, winning the ball back high up the pitch, maybe it is quite interesting to me. It's an interesting profile, like I say, and there are a few attributes that are a bit lower than I'd like them to be. But as much as that's the reason why it's only a 4-star card, he does make up for it with some kind of slight defensive and physical ability. For when he does his defensive work, and just in general athletically, bit of pace, bit of kicking power, the jumping. I'm not sure how important that's going to be, but he's physically strong and he's got half decent balance and good stamina there. you would need one or two midfielders behind him doing the defensive work, but as an attack-minded centre mid with the whole player playing style active, or as an attacking mid, I think there are enough qualities about this guy, especially with the passing and his athletic ability, unwavering form, and very decent sectioning skills. I think for a 4-star contract, this guy could be a pretty interesting one. And for me, especially since I like to rock a Newcastle past and present squad, I know he didn't make it to our first team, but technically he's part of our club, so I'm picking him up for sure. And yeah, like I say, I think for a 4-star, he could be an interesting card for a lot of people, to be honest. And speaking of former Premier League players, Arthur Masuaku, former West Ham left back. He's got his face scan. Attacking left back. Can play left back or left mid. I think I'll say straight away as a left midfielder, I don't think he's got the attacking ability for that. Attacking awareness would be terrible as a winger. Low pass 71, no thank you. I think you're very much looking at a left back with this guy. It's the first time I've had a featured version of him. Compared to his GP card, they've taken some points off his lower body attributes. They do that quite often with fullbacks, which is annoying, but we're still at 89 speed, 88 stamina, and kicking power 84. So I think all three of the lower body attributes, even though they've been nerfed a bit, still high enough for a fullback. They boosted him a bit. Where have they boosted him? His lofted passes had a nice boost. His finishing has had a nice boost. I guess he must have scored in the past month. His set pieces have had a really nice boost. His place kicking, set piece taking, has gone up by about 30, roughly. Wow. So yeah, he's obviously been much better at set pieces in the past month. He must have been practicing. What have we got skill-wise? So they've not taken anything away. They've just thrown in through passing, man marking, and interception. Excellent. That's 3 very nice skills on an attacking fullback. He already had pinpoint crossing and soul control up there. Outside curl as well is a nice one. And he has sliding tackle acrobatic clearance. So this guy's got a pretty good section of skills for an attacking fullback. Very good, in fact. Interesting that they've added through passing, but still only given him 71 for low pass. That seems a bit harsh. I'm sure they could at least put it up to the mid-70s at least. But yeah, if they're not going to do that, then you're just going to have to be really, really careful when you play passes with this guy, because his low pass is terrible. But lofted pass 86, Curl's going to hit 80 with the game plan boost, and kicking power's already in the mid-80s. He's going to have a very nice cross on him. On the ball, he's all right for a fullback. I think he's okay there. Defensively, he is a bit on the weak side. Yes, the tackling is going to get to 80 with the game plan boost, but defensive awareness, aggression, and engagement all a bit on the low side. The speed is alright, but the acceleration is not brilliant. I think on the whole he's quick enough, just not as rapid as most of us probably like our fullbacks to be. Kicking power's alright, physical contact's alright, balance is alright, stamina's alright. I think this guy's pretty decent for a 4-star. With the defensive attributes being a bit on the low side and the low pass being as low as it is, I just can't quite recommend him as being a great card, even for a 4-star. He does have qualities. They have given him some good skills. I don't want to sound like I'm being harsh, because this guy is very... I think certainly if you get the Turkish League Challenge, if you still get to take part in the Turkish League Challenge, if you've not been banished from that like most of us, I think this guy could be a really, really worthwhile card to pick up to put in your Turkish League squad. He's one of the better left-backs I've seen from the Turkish League. He's got quality there, decent pace, he's got a bit of stamina, and certainly the crossing is good and he's okay on the ball. But like I say, being brutally honest, especially if you don't get the Turkish League Challenge, that low pass, you are going to be giving the ball away. And defensively, he's not the best. He may get caught out of position. He's not going to be the most reliable defensively, but there are plenty of qualities there, and he's got a pretty good section skills for an attacking fullback. So, yes, there are weaknesses there, and outside the Turkish League Challenge, they would put me off this guy, and they hold me back from recommending him, I think. But on the whole, especially if you get the Turkish League Challenge, I think you could do a lot worse. I think for a 4-star contract, you could do a lot worse. There's a very attacking left back, very decent. He's certainly got some qualities, this guy. I think a fair few people are probably going to be picking this guy up and having a bit of fun with him. And the last 4-star from the Turkish League back, we've got Edin Višća, and this guy actually is one of my favourite players in the game. I've got a better version of him. So he's got a face scan. He's had that ages now. Roaming flank, his regular playing style. I don't know when this happened. It must have been recent, but he used to be able to play left wing. My version of Višća can play left wing as well, but they've taken left mid and left wing away from him. I don't know why they've done that. They've done the same to Anthony Gordon. That's a bit frustrating. So he's only going to be a right winger for you if you get this card. He's weaker for accuracy. He's gone up by 1, which is good. We've had a few previous ones. There's the one I mentioned that I've got, which is a bit better than this, and there's actually another Turkish League one that was even better than that. So there have been a couple of trainable ones that are better than this card, and like I say, they both have left wing as well. There was actually one in one of the early packs, one of those you remember that Magic Dribblers pack? He was in there. That was not as good as this one. So yeah, it's not the worst Višća card we've had, but there've been a couple of bad ones. He's well into his 30s now, so I guess he might be turning off a bit. Although obviously he's still doing the business to an extent because he's in Player of the Month. But yeah, I've had a couple of bet ones. So if you got one of those, you got a better one than this. But it still looks like a usable card. Like I say, I love this guy. I had a good version of him back in the My Club days, and he was great for me then. When I finally got a version on eFootball from one of those Turkish League packs, I loved it. I put skills on him. I use him loads. He's great. He's one of these wingers he's quite small. He's got pace and he's got balance. He's decent on the ball. He's nimble. Mine's a bit better on the ball. Obviously, it's a slightly better card, but I feel like this card, even though it's not as good, it's only a 4-star. This card, it could well be one of these cards you pick up and you find he feels very nice. You know, like I say, that low center of gravity and a bit of pace and balance and dribbling. In my experience, he's very, very fun on the ball. He feels responsive. He's quick. He's nippy. Unwavering form as well. What have they done skill-wise? So they have, what have they done? They've not done much. They've taken away captaincy and given him rising shot. So I guess he scored with a rising shot. That'll be why he's in this pack. But yeah, apart from that, long range curler. We've got first time shot. So a couple of shooting skills there. Through passing and pinpoint crossing. Outside curls, a nice one to have. Yeah, you got a decent selection of skills there. Attribute wise, what they've done from his GP card. So his low pass is up a bit. His finishing is up a bit. A bit more speed, which is good on a winger. His physical strength is up a bit as well as physicals. So, yeah, they actually have taken away a bit from his balance. That's a shame. And his attacking awareness, which is low. That's really a shame. So, again, one of these weird decisions. He's a winger. You know, he's an attacking player. And they put him in Player of the Month. So he's obviously been playing well as a winger. And they put his attacking awareness down. Why? Just leave it where it was. That's just annoying. But yeah, he has had a boost on the low pass, the finishing, and a few attributes. So yeah, it's not the best version of Višća, like I say. But the tight possession is a little bit disappointing for me, and the attacking awareness. Those are the two attributes for me that are disappointing. But he's still got that dribbling. The ball control's decent enough. He's got a little bit of end product. You know, none of the passing and finishing are that great, but they could be lower certainly. And he's got some skills to back them up. He does have the pace. He does have a bit of balance about him. So yeah, unwavering form as well. What I would say with this guy is if you've not had a version of him before, and if you like, you know, small, quick, nimble wingers, if you're looking for players to use your 4-star contracts on, in my experience of how nice he feels and how much fun I've had with him, he may well be worth giving him a try. Like I say, he's not as good as previous versions. It is only a 4-star version, so mine is better, but it's not going to be a massive difference. I reckon he's still going to feel pretty fun on the ball. So you like this kind of a player, if you've got 4-star contracts to use up, he may well be worth using it on because, you know, yes, he's got 1 or 2 dodgy attributes. The tight possession a bit dodgy. Attacking awareness is certainly dodgy, but outside of that, I think there's enough quality that it could be a fun one to use. If you get the Turkish League Challenge, I would definitely recommend him. But in general, if you've got 4-star contracts to use up, if you like this kind of winger, could well be worth it because in my experience, he's a fun card to use. Now let's go back over to this wonderful pack full of 3 and 4-star cards that don't really have much use. And our first 4-star from here, who are we going to look at? Let's look at Sultan Al Ghannam. So, got a face scan. We have a right back, full back finisher. Only standard form. We're going to go jumping back over to eFootball Hub and find out how good this card is. So, how good is this fella? Maxed out, all boosted up. He's not bad, to be fair. So, first things first, he's a fullback finisher. The fullback finisher will drift from their right fullback position into the midfield. They will stray from their position. If you like that, if you rock a formation, a kind of tactical setup like, you know, like Man City, for example, you like kind of, what do you call it, like inverted fullbacks or whatever, maybe that'll be good for you. But if you like a more traditional fullback who doesn't stray from his position too much, that playing style might not be for you. I've tried anchoring on a fullback finisher before. It seems to work to an extent, so that is an option, but yeah, that's his playing style. And looking at the attributes, yeah, he's not too bad, to be honest. It's the first time I've had a feature version of him, and he's had a decent boost from his GP card, nothing major, mainly the defending. I think his tackling's up by about 5 or 6 points, which is good. That's a very good attribute to put a nice boost on a fullback. Would I change much? I'd probably nick a few from lower body here. You could probably take 4 off lower body, actually. I always do that. It's just what I personally do. I just personally find that once you get past 90, you don't really notice a lot of difference in the speed. But I think it's worth it sometimes to nudge some other attributes up a bit. See, defending, we can get his defensive engagement up to 80. What else can we do here? Nudges crossing up 1. They get lofted past to 80. Nice. Can we get him a bit better on the ball? Oh, 1 point away. 1 point away from getting up to 80. Hang on. Boom, there we go. I'd probably do that. As a fullback finisher, he's going to be drifting forward, so making him a bit better in possession I think is important. We've nudged the defensive engagement up to the 80 mark. We've still got speed and acceleration over 90. The balance is at 80, which isn't great, but it could be worse than a fullback. Physical contact, again, that's not great, but it could be worse. It's not too bad. Stamina still over 90. We've got skills, not many, but we've got some of the important ones. One touch pass and pinpoint crossing going forward. Interception, fighting spirit. So there's quite a lot to be said for this guy, to be honest. If you like the fullback finisher playing style, you could do a lot worse than this guy for a 4-star contract. You can make him fairly decent technically. Defensive awareness is still a bit on the low side, as is tight possession, to be fair. I should mention that. Tight possession, you don't want tight possession being that low on any kind of player, outside of your centre-backs, really. Not for me, anyway. I've had 1 or 2 fullbacks in the past. I remember one in particular. There was, I think I mentioned it before, I had a player of the week, Estupinian, who had a lot of decent attributes, but his tight possession was about 70. And there were a couple of times where I just couldn't turn him, and I ended up losing the ball, and I just released the guy. But so yeah, that's not to say that alone is going to make it a bad card, but it's something to be mindful of. Be careful in possession with that type of possession being as low as it is. But outside of that, technically decent. Defensively, awareness is a bit low, so that is a bit of a concern. But the other defensive attributes are 80 plus, fully boosted. And like I say, you got the pace, got the stamina. We're looking okay over here, so it's not an amazing fullback. It is obviously a 4-star card, but there's a fair amount to be said for it. I think you could do a lot worse, and he's got not a lot of skills, but he's got some of the most important ones for a fullback. So yes, 1 or 2 attributes a bit on the low side, and on the right here, some of these could be a bit higher, but you could do worse. I would put him around the same level as Masuaku, to be honest. With Masuaku, you've got an attacking fullback, good crossing, decent pace, just a little bit iffy defensively, and with this guy, the playing style might concern a lot of people. 1 or 2 attributes down the right could be a little bit higher than physical imbalance. The awareness and tight possession are a bit dodgy, so yeah, like I say, similar to Masuaku, he's got plenty of qualities. On the whole, I'm not sure how strongly I can recommend him because of the 1 or 2 attributes being right on the low side, and the playing style may put a lot of people off, but you could do worse. Certainly, if you ever rock a Saudi squad for any reason, obviously if you're from Saudi Arabia, then you probably will do. But yeah, if you do have a Saudi squad, I think it'd be a really good addition for you. But outside of that, these guys don't have club affiliations, these cards, so hard to really recommend him that strongly. You could do a lot worse. He is a very decent looking 4-star, just without the club affiliation. How many people are going to be able to get any use out of this guy? I don't think many, sadly, but yeah, 1 or 2 dodgy attributes, and you can't use him in any club challenges or league challenges, but you certainly could do a lot worse for a 4-star fullback, to be honest. And now we have a 4-star goalkeeper. We've got Maarten Paes, I think that is. Defensive goalkeeper, no face scan, only standard form, of course, no club affiliation, so not off to a brilliant start. Let's jump over to eFootball Hub. How good is this goalie? So, Indonesia goalkeeper, maxed out, fully boosted. Yeah, not bad for a 4-star. High punt, the only skill. I think most of us probably would prefer low punt to be on there. Obviously, you can give a goalkeeper low punt, but that tends to take about 1,000 skill trainers on average. Yeah, reflexes aren't brilliant. Catching and parrying are pretty low. Great reach. He's 6'3", so yeah, good coverage of his goal. Awareness is very decent as well for 4-star. Could we balance out those attributes a bit? I don't know. Let's see. We can nick 1 from passing, and as we know from Player of the Week, goalkeepers don't need to be able to jump. So I'll take those aerial points back. What can we do? Freed up 5 points. What we do? We could nick a few from there. I know it takes the parrying down quite a bit, but oh yeah, that's worth it. I think. Look, nice. Stick that back on aerial. So you can actually get 3 of his goalie attributes to 90 plus there. Yes, the parrying goes really bad. You're going to be giving away some of those nasty rebound goals, but catching is up a bit. All the other 3 goalie attributes up to 90. I'd maybe do that, to be honest. I think for a 4-star keeper, you could certainly do worse. But with that parrying being as low as it is and the catching not being brilliant, and just, I mean, that would be a bit harsh to say it's bad for that reason alone. But the fact you can't use this card in the league challenges, just hard to recommend it. Yes, you can make him very decent as a 4-star keeper, but I don't know, whether you train on that or with the auto allocation, he certainly could be worse. You could do a lot worse if you're desperate for goalie options. Maybe it'll be worth picking up if you've got a lot of 4-star contracts to use up. But yeah, if you can't use in the league challenges, unless you're Indonesian, you rock an Indonesia squad. If that's the case, and you'll be very pleased with this guy, he'll certainly be well worth picking up for your Indonesia squad. I imagine this is the best Indonesian keeper we've had so far, unless I'm mistaken on that. But yeah, could be worse. Looking at it objectively, just in terms of the stats, could certainly be worse as a 4-star keeper. Obviously, not all the goalie attributes are great, however you train him, because he is only a 4-star, but it's just the fact that you can't really use him in anything apart from divisions that makes him largely useless for me. But yeah, if you do rock an Indonesia squad, could be a very, very good one for you to pick up. You'd be very pleased with this, but outside of that, just can't really recommend it, unfortunately. And now we have Jahanbakhsh, former Brighton winger. So he has a face scan. He's had that quite a while now. He's a right midfielder. He is a whole player. He can play on either flank. Only standard form. Let's jump over to eFootball Hub and we'll see how good this Jahanbakhsh card is. It's the first time I've had a feature version of him. Slightly surprising. Let's max him out, get him all boosted up. He's alright. He's decent. He's got quite a few decent attributes here. So the pace is decent. Kicking power is decent. Balance isn't too bad. On the ball, decent. Low and lofted pass for a winger, decent enough. But the finishing's pretty poor, and his attacking awareness isn't great for a whole player. So yeah, whole player will be active right midfield. If you play him as a wide forward, right or left, he will not have an active playing style. You can, of course, still play him there, he just won't have an active playing style. Yeah, there's quite a few decent attributes here. Let's have a look at skills. What's he got skill-wise? So a couple of skill moves, long-range shooting, heel chick's nice, first-time shot. So he's got a few shooting skills there. Weighted pass is the only one he's got around his passing, though. He's a super sub, always nice to have. But yeah, interesting. He's got the shooting skills to improve his finishing attribute, which is poor. So, but nothing really with the passing apart from weighted pass. So, yeah. So end product wise, he's got a bit of end product. He's decent on the ball. He's got a bit of pace about him and kicking power. I think he's probably one that most people are going to look to play on the left and cut inside, get some shots around his right foot. If you gave him pinpoint crossing, his cross would be decent. Not amazing, but decent. In which case, he could be a handy right winger putting crosses in. Yeah, I think it's a decent 4-star. Again, it's one of these cards where these cards don't have a club affiliation, so you're only really going to use this guy if you're rocking an Iran squad, or maybe if you like this guy from when he's played for your team, if you're a Brighton fan, or I think he's played for quite a few teams at this point. So if you do like this guy, you might want to pick him up and put him in your squad for divisions, or maybe the unlimited challenge, for example. But is he going to get into your team? Is he going to be competing against the better options that you've got, right wing or left wing? I think it's unlikely. So I'm not going to say this is a bad card, but I just don't know how many people are going to get much value out of it. Sure, if you have an Iran squad, if you're from Iran, then you'll be very pleased with this card. Very pleased indeed, I imagine. Any Iranian players of this game will be delighted with this card, but outside of those guys, yeah, I think the appeal is going to be limited, which is a shame because he's got some qualities. Yes, the attack awareness is a bit low, the finishing is certainly low. I'd like a bit more balance if I'm going to be greedy, but he's not bad on the ball. He's got a bit of pace and kicking power, and give him 1 or 2 skills, could be a pretty handy winger. It's just yeah, it's just if you're not going to be rocking an Iran squad, don't know how much use you're going to get out of this guy. I don't know how close he's going to be to ever getting in the team, so. Bit of a shame because he is a decent one, this, and if it wasn't for the league challenge thing, I might be tempted to recommend him, but yeah, finishing a bit low, attacking awareness not great, and he could do 1 to 2 more skills. So in isolation, just looking at it in terms of the stats and all the numbers, it is a decent card. I don't want to sound too harsh, it's just he's not quite good enough to really get into people's squads outside of if you're rocking a Rant squad, which I imagine most of the player base don't. So yeah, a bit of a shame really, because it's not too bad of a card. It's just, again, I don't see how many people are going to be getting a great deal of value out of it. And the last of our 4-stars, we've got Hwang In-Beom, South Korean midfielder. He's a box-to-box centre mid. He's playing for Feyenoord now in the Eredivisie. Only standard form. Let's jump over. Oh, hang on. He's got a face scan. Yep, nice. So let's jump over to eFootball Hub. How good is this card? It is better than the previous one. So I got the previous one for my free spin on the last South Korea pack. That's the only other version we've had. And this one is better. He's had a decent boost from his GP card, mainly on the ball. And yeah, he's kind of all right. On the ball, he's okay. Passing, good. Attacking awareness sucks. Defensively, kind of sucks a bit. Pace is decent for a centre midfielder. Kicking power is decent. Physical strength's a bit poor. Balance is a bit poor. Stamina's great. So we've got some good attributes, a few decent ones, and we've got a few that are a bit on the low side as well. So yeah, it's kind of looking a bit meh, to be honest. The one I've got feels all right. This one is a bit better, so yeah, it might be an alright card to pick up. Certainly, again, if you rock a South Korea squad, could be a really good one to pick up. I've had quite a few South Korean cards over the last couple of years, and centre mid is probably the one position I've lacked players, to be honest. So I'm guessing on that basis, if you do rock a South Korean squad, if you're South Korean, then yeah, you might be very, very happy to pick this card up. But Yeah, let's look at the skills. What have we got? We've got a few skill moves, and we've got first time shot, nice, bonus. But as a centre mid, the more important skills, one touch pass, through passing, interception. For me, those are probably the first 3 skills I look for in a centre mid. So those 3 for me, 3 of the most important skills. Fighting experience is a very good one as well, and he's got great stamina. Captaincy is a nice bonus. So yeah, pretty strong selection of skills there. And he's got some strengths. Looking around, you know, obviously the attack awareness is a bit low and the defense is a bit low, and the physical strength and balance are a bit low. Those are the areas I'd like to improve, but can we really spare the points? I'm looking around thinking, where can we get spare some points from? I think lower body is the obvious one. He's got a lot of stamina. You don't need too much speed centre mid. Kicking power is already quite decent, so let's just nick a few from lower body. I'll just go down to 90 on stamina. Can we beef him up a little bit elsewhere? Physical contact up to 70. Let's give him some dexterity. Oh, he's one on shooting. Don't really need that. I would be tempted to do that and just accept the fact he's not great defensively. He's got 8 on defending already, so it's going to be 3 points per increase on defending. So, yeah, I think the most efficient way to build this guy is probably like this, just to beef him up a little bit with a bit more dexterity and get the physical contact up to 70 and just make sure you got at least one other midfielder doing defensive work. Because, yeah, primarily the tackling at 71 in the box-to-box is not great. And like I say, we're already up to 8 on defending, so, yeah, he's a decent enough centre mid for a 4-star guard. He can certainly do a job. Like I say, in the South Korean squad, he'd be a good one to pick up. If you don't rock a South Korean squad, maybe if you're a fan of one of the teams he's played for, like Feyenoord, his current team, he could do a job if if you're in divisions and so on. I don't think he's a particularly bad card. Certainly for a 4-star, he's decent, but and he is decent for a 4-star to be fair. But again, it's just the same thing. You can't use these in league challenges and in divisions and unlimited challenges when you're coming up against beefy legend squads. How good is this guy going to be? He's going to struggle. He's just not quite on that level, is he? So it's a decent one for a 4-star contract if you've got an emotional attachment to this guy for whatever. If he's played for your club, if you're from South Korea, but as much as he is decent, and there aren't too many weaknesses apart from the defensive side of things, I don't see how many people are going to get great value out of him. So yeah, not a bad one for a 4-star. It's just, again, I just don't see a lot of people getting much value from him, unfortunately. So out of all the 4-stars, my recommendations, it was a tricky one. There are a bunch of others I could have included. I think both the fullbacks, Masuaku from the Turkish league, a lot of people could have a lot of fun with that guy. I just think with the defensive attributes being a bit on the low side and his low pass being terrible as well, I couldn't quite recommend him. And the other fullback, there's a few players in the Asian pack. Sultan Al Ghannam could be a pretty useful right back for some people, just without being able to use him in league challenges and being a 4-star. He's just not quite on the level for using in divisions and stuff. I can't quite recommend him. And likewise, Hwang In-Beom and Jahanbakhsh, they're both decent cards for 4-stars. I think Jahanbakhsh especially, I was very close to recommending him, but I've gone with these guys. I've gone with 2 other wingers. Višća, just in my personal experience, is a really fun one to use. I like him. It's a shame you can't use him on the left. It's a shame he's not as good as a couple of previous versions, but I reckon for a 4-star contract, if you like that kind of a winger, you could have fun with this guy. He's always quite sort of quick and nimble and fluid on the ball for me. I do like the guy. And then Oğuz Aydın. He's got a bit of end product and he's got a bit of pace, decent on the ball as well. He's a super sub. Could be a handy one, especially in that Turkish League challenge. So a couple of wingers there. Like I say, Jahanbakhsh, I was close to putting him in, but I just don't feel like I can recommend any cards from that pack without the club affiliation. So these 2 for me, these 2 wide men, and I think Olivier Kemen is an interesting one. It's a bit of a shame he's not better on the ball and he's not got a bit more attacking awareness, but if he was better on the ball and had higher attacking awareness, he'd be a 5-star. And he's not far off it. He's got a very interesting profile. I think all the qualities he's got the passing, he's athletically really, really nice looking. I think for a lot of people, this guy could be an interesting one to pick up. He's got good skills as well. So, yeah, I think these 3 out of the lot, for me, are probably the first 2 I'll be looking to pick up. But like I say, there are a few others that are going to be very decent 4-stars for other people. It's just if I'm going to narrow it down to a few, this would be the few that I would go with. So now onto the 5-stars, and we've got 1 5-star in this Asian pack. It is Keito Nakamura, plays for Rams in France, albeit he doesn't have a club affiliation, annoyingly. He does have a face scan, of course, because he's Japanese and he's half decent, so you know he's going to have a face scan. Only standard form, but he's doing well in France. He quite often gets A or B form. Let's jump over to eFootball Hub, and we'll see on there how good this Nakamura card is. So, maxed out, trained up. He's decent. He's not amazing. Has he got the pace? Yeah. Kicking power? Yeah, just about. Balance? Borderline. Good, decent stamina for a winger. On the ball, pretty decent. Attacking awareness, decent. And then down here, the finishing's alright, but the passing lets him down. He's got terrible passing. So, yeah, he's a 5-star card. It's not a brilliant one, but certainly, apart from the passing, he's got quite a few decent attributes. He's got some qualities, this guy. He's a pretty straightforward right-footed left winger. He's an inverted winger. You can play him SS, but would you play him SS when he can't pass to save his life? I don't know. I mean, that's going to hold him back in any position, really. Looking at the skills, I mean, he's got some shooting skills. Oh, he's got through passing as well. So, yeah, through passing will compensate a bit for his passing being terrible, but it's clear what this guy's going to be good at. The pace, the dribbling, get him on the ball, get him inside onto his right foot and shoot. That's clearly where the strengths lie with this guy. I don't know what I would do to retrain him, because the question is, can you get the passing to be better? Where are you going to score the points? You're going to take points away from on the ball and having dipped below 90 on dribbling or ball control. I don't know if you'd want to do that. Certainly tight possession, you're at that point where if you take one away from dribbling, tight possession goes down by 2 because of the mark where it's hit, because obviously without the boost is at around the 85 mark where it starts going up by 3. Do you take dexterity away and dip below 80 on attacking awareness? Do you want to go below 84 on balance? No, I don't think so. And then lower body, do you want to go below that? Again, you're at the 88 mark and kick and pass stamina. Do you want to lose 2 on those just from taking 1 away? I don't think you do. So, to be honest, I think the only thing I do is to accept the fact that you can't pass to save his life. Try and avoid passing with him and just be very careful when you do. And if you take a couple off passing, you can get his finishing to the 80 mark. I think that's the only thing I'd bother doing, to be honest. And if you do that, and if you play to his strengths, which basically means don't pass the ball, he could be decent, to be fair. So if you rock a Japan squad, and I know quite a few people do, I do, could be worth having. Could be a half decent one to have. It's not the first version we've had of Nakamura. We've had a Showtime one quite recently. That was by far the best version we've had. He was a whole player, that one as well. There was a player of the season one. That was from that wasn't one of those trending ones. That was a trainable one. It was in I think it was a Liga and Showtime packet. It's one of the trainable ones, I think. One of those. Pretty similar level, to be honest. The stats are kind of shuffled around a bit. He was in Player of the Week recently as well. His overall was 1 lower, but pretty similar again. Stats just kind of shuffled around a bit. He's had a pretty good boost from GP card, mainly on the ball and finishing. So yeah, it's a decent version of him. Might not be on the same level as the Showtime by a distance, but like I say, if you rock a Japan squad, that's the one main reason why you'd want this guy, really. He could well be a decent one for you. Just be really careful with that passing. Otherwise, yeah, it's a 5-star card. Maybe if you're quite new to the game and you want more options on the left wing, he does get form quite often. Like I say, you can see it here. He's had a few bad weeks as well, actually. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he's 8 weeks he's been on ALB. So he does get form fairly often. And he can certainly do a job for you. Just that passing's terrible. I'd like the balance to be a bit higher. But yeah, on the whole, 1 or 2 weaknesses that hold him back a bit. But other than that, he does have qualities. It's just a shame that you don't have the league affiliation and in 5-star competition, even in national team challenges, you need that passing to be a bit higher. So yeah, it's not a bad card. It's a decent one. I think for a lot of people, it could be a fun one to pick up if he fits into your squad. You want another, inverted winger come off that left wing, especially if you rock a Japan squad. Could be worth picking up. It's a decent winger. It's just that passing really is the one big downside. Apart from that, yeah, certainly a lot of qualities there. Next we go to the Turkish League pack. There's just 1 5-star in there. It is Lucas Torreira. So we have had previous versions of Lucas Torreira. First things first, he of course has his face scan. He's had that for years. So we've had 2 trainable versions of him, and they are both from Turkish League packs, and they're both destroyers. They've made this one a box to box. His GP card's an anchorman, so there are a few different playing styles this guy's had. The 2 previous trainable ones that we've had, the destroyers, not quite as good as this one. The big difference being this one's got a boost on his physical contact, his pace, and his passing. So he's looking very interesting right off the bat. To be honest, from his GP card, those are the main areas that boost him. He's a bit better on the ball as well than his GP card, on auto allocation at least. And his balance as well. So yeah, he's had a boost in a few nice areas, this version of Torreira. Unwavering form as well. So he's already looking pretty nice. Looking at the skills, they've taken away knuckle shot. I think we can live without that. They've thrown in pinpoint crossing. I guess he must have created a goal with a cross. And blocker. Nice. So good selection of skills here. One skill that's lacking is through passing. That's a bit of a shame. That's the one skill he's really lacking. He's got 1-touch pass, got weighted pass. Obviously crossing's been thrown in there. low lofted pass as well. So he's got all the skills ready with his passing except for through passing. Bit of a shame. Defensively though, man marking, interception, blocker, sliding, tackle, fighting spirit. Some good skills there. I think with this guy, with that box-to-box playing style, both DMF and CMF, that playing style will be active. He's going to get up and down the field even as a DMF. This might be one of those cards where he's best to use as a DMF with the defensive instruction on him to hold him back, to have him just sit back and protect your defense, because he's got strong defensive attributes. He's got a bit of physical contact. This is the most physical contact he's had on this game. Like I say, the 2 previous versions, Destroyers, I've got one of them. I've actually got the better one. He's been pretty neat for me. When I used to get the Turkish League Challenge, Torreira did a great job for me. I was really happy with him, but this one is better than mine. He's got more pace, he's got more physical contact, which is crucial on defensive mid. And he's got better passing as well. So it's a big shame we don't get the Turkish League Challenge anymore, because for that, it's got to be fantastic. And if you, well, I mean, some people do, of course. If we do still got the Turkish League Challenge, unless you hate this guy, I think it's a really nice looking card actually. And outside of the Turkish League Challenge, very usable. It's just a shame he's not got through passing. But like I say, I don't think he'd use him as a centre mid anyway. His attacking awareness is terrible. He's not brilliant on the ball. His profile is very much kind of looks like an orchestrator in a way. He kind of cross between an orchestrator and an anchorman really. But yeah, I don't think I would use him as a centre mid. I think this guy is best used as a defensive mid, especially with the defensive instruction on him. His pace is okay for a defensive mid. He's got a bit of physical contact about him now, which he hasn't had previously. He's got great balance and stamina. He's a tiny guy at 166 centimeters Torreira. He's got that low center of gravity. So even though he's not brilliant on the ball, he should feel pretty nimble with great balance there, and with a bit of physical contact as well. Good stamina. Defensively, like I say, very strong. 3 of these are going to be over 90 with the game plan boost. And like I say, he's not brilliant on the ball, but he could be worse. And that passing is nice. Low pass will be hitting 90 with the game plan boost. So yes, in 1 or 2 areas, you might like him to be a bit better. And he's quite a small guy for a defensive mid, but he's got that bit of physical contact now. He's got unwavering form. It's only through passing he's lacking. For me, as a defensive midfielder, I think this guy's a pretty tidy card, to be honest. Never mind the Turkish League Challenge. If you get the Turkish League Challenge, I think it's one of the better centre mids or defensive mids you could get. Certainly defensive mids. But outside of the Turkish League Challenge, even in things like divisions, or if you rock a Uruguay squad for any reason, or if he's played for one of your teams, maybe you're an Arsenal fan, or Fiorentina, he's played for a few teams now. I think this is without a doubt the best version of Torreira we've had. The only possible downside is that you might not like the playing style, but outside of that, definitely the best version of Torreira we've had. I think as a defensive midfielder with the strengths he's got, yes, 1 or 2 slight weaknesses, and he lacks the through passing skill, but looking at all the qualities he has, the strengths that he's got, and the ways in which he's been boosted from previous versions, I think all things considered for a 5-star contract, this is one that's well worth considering. I think he could be a pretty decent defensive mid for a lot of people, this card. Now let us make our way over to the 5-star pack. So a whopping 6 5-star to choose from, and we're going to start with, we'll just start over with the lowest rated, and we've got Carlos Baleba from Brighton. Does he have a face scan? No, not yet. I imagine he'll get one soon enough. Still only 20, I didn't realize he was that young. So we've got a box-to-box centre midfielder or defensive midfielder. He's left-footed. Again, only standard form. Let's jump over to the eFootball Hub. How good is this Baleba card? So, not the first version we've had of him. We had a trainable version in some kind of, I think it was a legend pack. Very similar, to be honest. If you got that one, I don't think you need this one, really. Not a lot of difference. He's had a decent boost from his GP card. Main boost is really on his passing and his dribbling, which is nice in the centre mid. And yeah, all fully boosted up and trained up, he's all right, to be honest. He's pretty decent looking. Bit of an all-rounder. I'd like a bit more balance on him. But yeah, outside of that, no real weaknesses I can see. It's just going to come down to the skills, really. And he doesn't need too many. Okay, so this is decent looking, this card. So long range shooting, okay, not the most important, but as a bonus. 1-touch pass, good. Through passing is what he needs. That's the one thing he's lacking, really, skill-wise. Interception, acrobatic clearance, fighting spirit. So yeah, certainly as a centre midfielder, through passing, very important. He's 1-footed, so I would give him outside curler as well. So through passing, outside curler, maybe he's weighted passing. You might want to give 1 or 2 more defensive ones, especially if you play him as a DMF. I think man marking and blocker probably as a DMF. Maybe zero superiority. Could you play him as a DMF? What's the auto allocation going to tell us? Oh, you could. Interesting. Very interesting. So I'd like a bit more physical contact on a DMF, but outside of the physical contact, You got some qualities on this guy. Defensively strong there. You got a bunch of 90 plus defensives. Still, as a DMF, he's alright on the ball. The passing's nice. Yeah, you got an option as a DMF. Again, like with Torreira, box-to-box playing style will still be active DMF, so he's still going to get up and down the pitch. If you don't want that, you might want to put the defensive instruction on him if you use him as a DMF, but that's certainly an option. Going back to CMF, I mean, as a DMF, I don't think I'd really tweak much here. If anything, the physical contact, like I say, is the one I'd like to be a bit higher. If you want to get that higher, I think the one area you could take some points would probably be passing. I'm not so keen on doing that myself, but I think most people would probably prefer that, getting those points on a physical contact, getting up to the 80 mark. But yeah, you've definitely got an option as a defensive mid, but the skills are important. Man marking and blocker, I think I would definitely put on him, and through passing, even as a DMF, I would still put on him. Outside curler as well. It doesn't matter where you are on the pitch. If you're one-footed, you start trying to get your players to play passes when they're off balance or on their weaker side, it's not going to end well. So yeah, outside curler, I'll put on him whatever position you're using him. But yeah, as a DMF, definitely got an option there. And as a CMF, you could spare a couple of passing there, leave it at the 90 mark. Shooting, not so important. Yikes, he's got long range shooting, but that finishing's low. I wouldn't be hitting too many shots with this guy. Let's get him some more dexterity. That is important. They never seem to put many points on dexterity on centre mids, on box to boxes. That confuses me because that is important. You need a bit of attacking awareness, and balance is important as well. So yeah, would I do much more there? I'm not sure I would. I think I'll just leave it around about there. His stamina could be a bit better, to be fair. Stamina on a centre mid box to box, he won about 90. I think that's what I aim for. 88 is not too far off, but you could argue it's a bit on the low side, and it would cost you a lot of points to get that higher. So yeah, I think build-wise, I'd probably just do that. I think you've got a solid centre mid there. He does need one or two skills through passing for a start, and I would recommend outside curler because he is very one-footed. I'll start with those two skills, but yeah, decent pace on the centre mid, bit of kicking power. Physical contact, not the highest, but it could be worse. Balance likewise. Stamina, again, could be a bit higher, but it's not too bad. I think you can get away with that. Defensively, all 80 plus. On the ball, he's tidy enough. Passing as well is pretty nice, but you will need through passing. So yeah, it's not elite level by any means, but I think if you're looking for a 5-star centre mid box to box, you need options of that type. And especially if you like this guy, if you if you rock a Cameroon squad, I think that's a Cameroon flag, isn't it? Or if you support Brighton especially, could be a very useful card to pick up. I think it's not an amazing one, but certainly very usable. He's got qualities. Give him 1 or 2 skills, could certainly do a job for you. It is Cameroon. I was right for once. Right, who's next? Buongiorno. So it's Alessandro Buongiorno. His name obviously doesn't fit in Konami's opinion, so they've trimmed it down to just A. But Alessandro Buongiorno from Napoli. He has a face scan. He's been doing quite well for them, obviously, because he's in this mid-season MVP thing. He's a tall guy, 6'4", I make that. Unwavering form as well. He's a lefty, left-footed build-up centre-back. Let's jump over to eFootball Hub and see how good this version of Buongiorno is. So, maxed out, all pretty boosted up. Pretty tidy looking. It's not the first time we've had a Buongiorno card. We've had a few. So, the best one was in a I think it was a Legend Pack. I think it was Italian League Guardian, something like that. That goes to +1, bit better than this one. He does match up to other previous versions of Buongiorno, though. We've had a Player of the Week and a bunch of other trainer ones. He usually has more physical contact. I don't know if they've reduced his physical contact at some point recently on his GP card, but yeah, it's still decent though. Still hits 90. 90 is what I would personally look for on a centre back. I think it's around about the level you need it to be. And defenses are obviously very strong. They boosted his defensive awareness. It's one of the attributes that boosted the most, defensive awareness. Put a bit more on his speed and acceleration as well, which is good, and a bit on his balance, interestingly. So yeah, he's had a decent boost, a good version. Not the best, as I say, there's been a slightly better one, but this is a good version of Buongiorno. And if you want a 5-star centre back, you like the build-up playing style. If you want, especially if you want a lefty to bounce it out alongside a right footer, it's a very tidy looking option. This, it's not great on the ball, but apart from that, strong defensively, decent pace, physical contact's decent. Jumping's not amazing, but he's 6 foot, like I say, 6'4". He's got some height on him. I'm pretty sure he's got aerial superiority. Oh, he's not got aerial superiority. Hello. Okay, so there's the downside with this guy. You need some skills, but if you give him, I think he just needs aerial superiority and blocker. Those are the important ones. Maybe sliding tackle, fighting spirit. I'd probably give him fighting spirit as well. But yeah, he needs aerial superiority. He needs blocker. So there's the downside with this guy. There is a downside. But outside of the skills, if you give him the skills, I think this guy could be a pretty useful centre back. You could certainly nick at least 1 point from defending. That 1 point will give you 4 points. That one decrease will give you 4 points, you see. and you're still very strong defensively. You can nudge your speed up to the 80 mark. Where are the other two going? Goalkeeper one, I think. Boom. I'll just do that, I think. Nice. I think that's very decent looking. So you got that speed up to 80, acceleration over 70, jumping's up to 88, physical 90 still, defensive still all over 90, stamina's at 80. That's a nice looking centre back. Like I say, the one downside, you do need to give him some skills, but if you gave this guy blocker and aerial superiority, ideally fighting spirit, I think just those 2 or 3 skills, you would have a very nice centre back in your hands. I think he's a very, very solid. He can do a good job for a lot of people. Obviously, if you're rocking a big, beefy legend squad, you got the likes of, and Rijkaard and all the rest. Obviously, he's not going to be quite on that level, but as a no-name contract 5-star centre back, I think this is a pretty tidy card. I think you can do a lot worse than this. And if you need a centre back, and if you can spare the skills to give him the skills he needs, yeah, I think he's looking pretty solid. It's a decent centre back card. This very decent. And next we have Gravenberch again. We just looked at him in the new Netherlands pack. Here he is again. Of course, he's got his face scan, box to box, centre mid. We know the deal because we've just been looking at him in that Netherlands pack review. But let's jump over to eFootball Hub. How good is this version of him? Maxed out, fully boosted. He's about the same as the one in the Netherlands pack. So if you've got a Netherlands pack, you don't need this one. Yeah, he's about the same overall. To be honest, they have shuffled a lot of the stats around by just 1 or 2. So most of his stats, most of his attributes are 1 higher or 1 lower, or maybe 2 compared to his the Netherlands pack version, except the ball control on this one is about 3 higher than that one. So yeah, you could say for that reason alone, this one's slightly better. But on the whole, yeah, 1 or 2, higher or lower than compared to the Netherlands pack one. But it's pretty much the same really on the whole. So if you're getting the Netherlands pack, you don't need this one. Or if you're looking at maybe getting the Netherlands pack primarily for Gravenberch, you could just get this one instead. Save yourself the coins. It's about the same. It's one of the better versions of Gravenberch. As I said when I was reviewing one of the Netherlands pack, there's one version of him. It's one of these recent ones with a kind of dark green kind of football in the background. That's +1 compared to this. But apart from that, this one and the Netherlands pack one stack up pretty well against all the other ones. It's one of the better versions of Gravenberch. And yeah, it's a pretty good sentiment box to box on the whole. But I'll just be saying the same things as I've said in that Netherlands pack review. He's lacking attacking awareness. His defensives aren't brilliant. That's about it, really. Apart from that, it's a solid centre mid. I used to have a 4-star Gravenberch back in the early days. He was one of the first 4 GP cards I picked up when I was building my squad until I had good featured cards, and he did a good job for me. I quite liked him. So yeah, look at this card. I reckon he'll be a pretty decent one. He's got a good section of skills, but again, there's one lacking. It's through passing. Through passing is the one you really need. Apart from that, though, a few skill moves, long range shooting, rising shots, first time shot, even though his finishing attributes are a bit poor. Needs through passing, but he's got 1 touch pass, got outside curler, low lofted pass, and then defensively interception, aerial superiority. Yeah, I'm saying all the same things as I said with the Netherlands pack review, to be honest. He just needs a bit more attacking awareness. His finishing's poor. His defensives aren't brilliant, but apart from that, there are qualities there. Could you retrain him? And I feel like I'm probably going to be doing the exact same thing I did with the Netherlands one. Although I could probably spare more points from dribbling if his ball control's as high as it is. So yeah, can we make this one a bit better than the Netherlands pack one? Can we get his attacking up to 80? Oh, not quite. If you don't mind the attacking awareness being low, if you really want this guy to be able to defend, you could do that. Yeah, I get his attacking up to 80. Only 1 shy of 80 for awareness, which is frustrating, but he's still technically very nice. And now he's quite strong defensively. And down the right, he's still decent. It's really just the attacking awareness with this build. So yeah, if you're going to use him as more, maybe as a defensive mid, a double pivot, maybe that could be a build for you. Or just if you want an all-rounder centre mid, you just wanted his defences to be better. Just that attacking awareness is a bit of a letdown. But if you don't mind the attacking awareness being as low as it is, that could be a build for you. Can you make him a defensive mid? Did it with Baleba. Auto allocation, I don't know. So they've still got quite a bit on the ball attributes there. Passing as a defensive mid, not so bad, but they have taken a bunch of points off there. Defensives, are they good enough to be an out-and-out defensive mid? I don't know. I'm not sure. To be honest, I think the way I had him built just before is how I would have him as a defensive mid. I don't like this auto allocation as defensive mid, but if we go back to centre mid, if we wanted a more offensive build, I did this, I think, with the Netherlands pack review. What I'll do is I'll do a build that could be either an attacking centre mid, or if you position train for attacking mid, it could be an attacking mid. So we take all the points off defensive. Not that there are many points to spare from there, but take a few away from there. Get that dexterity up. 4-1 finishing. Get his shooting up to a 70 at least. Stick one back on dribbling, yeah. So he's a very attack-minded centre mid with 1 or 2 midfielders behind him doing the defensive work for him. Could do something like that. So technically very nice. Got the finishing up to 70, a bit more dexterity. So his attacking awareness is much better now. Balance as well, right up to 88. The acceleration as well, you're going to feel that, and decent kicking power still. Yeah, as an attack-minded centre mid or as an attacking midfielder, you could do that. Could be a decent one. So yeah, I don't really want to keep repeating myself saying all the same things I said with the Netherlands pack one, because it's ostensibly the same card. There's very little difference, but yeah, it's a good centre mid. It depends on what you prioritise, because there are 1 and 2 attributes. We'll just finish up and I'll leave them on the auto allocation. There are 1 and 2 attributes that you do need to be a bit higher, depending on what position you play him in and what kind of role you want to give him and what responsibilities you want to give him. Certainly defensively he's a bit lacking, and the attacking awareness is a bit lacking as well, but there's 1 or 2 ways you can build him. It just depends on where your priorities lie and what attributes you don't mind being a bit on the low side. But like I say, it's pretty much the same as his Netherlands pack card that's just been released. And for a lot of people, it could be a very nice one. Certainly for Liverpool fans, one of the better versions we've had of Gravenberch. I imagine this would be a very nice one to pick up. If you've picked up that Netherlands pack just for this card, you might be a little bit annoyed, to be honest, because this one's free. But yeah. 1 or 2 slight concerns there. He needs through passing. Maybe he's 1 or 2 other skills, but I think through passing is the one important skill he needs. And outside of 1 or 2 attributes being a bit low, depending how you build him, I think for a lot of people, could be a very neat centre midfield box-to-box card, that. And now we have Dave the Save. So, of course, he has his face gun. It's David there. We know what to expect there. Attacking goalie. It's on E form at the moment. That's a bit harsh. I saw that game. I didn't think it was that bad. Yeah, let's jump into the hub. This will be a pretty straightforward one. This is a good goalie. So we've had a few versions of David De Gea. We've had, I think, 4 Player of the Week cards now. Looking at those cards, this one is comparable to the best of those cards, to be honest. So it's the best, just about as good as any version of De Gea we've had recently. And certainly if you look at all the trainable ones, which are all from his Man United days, yeah, this looks like this may be the best version of De Gea. There's 1 or 2 Player of the Week ones that are around about the same level, but yeah, this is good. This is a good version of De Gea. Not a massive boost from his GP card, but it's a decent enough boost to make it, like I say, about as good a version of De Gea as we've had. The awareness over 90, catching is not brilliant, but the parrying is decent, and then the reflex and reach over 90. Tall guy, obviously, 6'4". Yeah, good goalie. Low punt, high punt, long throw, penalty saver. He's got all the skills you need really for a goalie. I don't know what more to say with it. This is a good goalie. If you want a good version of David De Gea, or if you just want a good goalkeeper, especially if you want a good goalkeeper for use in the Italian League Challenge, good card. Could be a very good use of a 5-star contract. I wonder what we could do with the points. Is it worth retraining him? I reckon it is. Nickel D's, of course, goalies don't need to be able to jump, according to Konami. Can we get that parrying up to the 90 mark? Ooh, I reckon we can. We'll nick one from... Where are we going to nick one from? It's either awareness or reflexes. Doesn't really make a lot of difference. We'll just do that. Let's take a couple on passing. That gets his lofted pass all the way up to 60. Yeah, you could take that last point from awareness or from reflexes, but either way, you can get 4 of his attributes to 90. You're just going to end up with the catching being a bit poor. But yeah, whichever way you do it, whether you do that or whether you just go with the auto allocation, it's a good goalie card. Not a great deal more to say. Yes, the catching ain't brilliant, but everything else looks pretty good. It's about as good a version of De Gea as we've had. So yeah, that is a good goalie card. If you need a goalie, and if you've got the 5-star contracts to spare, I don't think he's going to let him on down. I think this is a good, solid goalkeeper card, this. And next we've got Hakimi from PSG. So we've had a lot of versions of this guy. Of course, he's got his face scan. He's a fullback finisher. Only standard form. Seems a bit harsh. He seems like he plays well for the most part in Liga. And we'll find out in a second because we're going over to eFootball Hub. Yeah, he does. Why has this guy only got standard form? That's a bit harsh. He's got great form. Anyway, so for whatever reason, only on standard form, but we've got fullback finisher Hakimi. Like I say, we've had loads of versions of this guy at this point. We've had a bunch of Player of the Week ones. This matches up really to the best Player of the Week ones. We'll just max him out and fully train him up here. So he's around about the same level as the better Player of the Week ones, but the stats are shuffled around a bit. Sometimes he's a bit better technically, sometimes a bit better defensively or physically. This one is trainable, of course. 2 of those Player of the Weeks were attacking fullback, whereas this one is, of course, a fullback finisher. And to be honest, in terms of his overall rating, he's comparable to the better versions of Hakimi. It's a good version of him. He's had a decent boost from his GP card. The attributes that boosted the most are, looks like physical contact, defensive engagement, low pass as well. So yeah, this looks like a good version of Hakimi. There've been quite a few versions. If you've got one of the better ones, then you might not need this one. But if you want a good version of him, you can't really ask for much more. The playing style, as I've mentioned already when we we're looking at the Saudi fullback finisher, he's going to drift up into the midfield. He will straighten position. If you don't like that, you might not like that playing style. But if you do like that, then happy days. It's a good version of Hakimi. If you were going to kind of balance out his build, try and improve some of the attributes that need it, because obviously the ball control is not great. Tight possession is horrible. His passing is not great. We can spare some points, and it's obvious where we can spare them from. So I think we can certainly afford to maybe take at least 4 off there initially. Let's take a couple more off, actually. We'll leave the kicking power at 80. What are we going to increase? We're going to make him a bit better on the ball. We're going to make his passing better. We'll just do that, I think. That's probably all we really need to do. The balance is a bit on the low side. I would say you don't really feel that. I've used Hakimi a few times in the past. He doesn't feel like he's got low balance. I don't think that's lower than it usually is on Hakimi, but yeah, defensives are strong there. Very good engagement and aggression. The engagement has been boosted. All 80 plus. And that's with, yeah. So they put 8 on defending. That's around about on the money. I think I would leave that as it is. Obviously, we put 4 extra on the on the ball attributes and on his passing now. I think that's worthwhile, especially on the fullback finisher. He's going to get forward quite a bit. We're still in the 90s for speed and stamina though. 80 kicking power, accelerations at 90, sorry. Yeah, so it comes down to the skills, I guess. What we got skill-wise. Okay, so we've got pinpoint crossing, long-range curler. So that'll be handy if you ever play him as a left winger, I guess. I mean, you could play him as a left back, I guess. Maybe from left back he might get into a position for a long-range curler. But yeah, pinpoint crossing when he gets forward is important. No passing skills. And a fullback finisher, you might want to put one-touch passing, through passing on him. But most importantly, what he needs is interception. He's lacking interception. I personally like to have man marking blocker on my fullbacks as well. He does a acrobatic clearance, fighting experience, sliding tackle, good ones to have, but interception very important. And man marking blocker, like I say, I personally like to have those in the fullback. So there's a few skills you might want to put on this guy. That's probably one advantage the better player of the week cards have over this one, because they tend to put skills on him that he's lacking. But yeah, there's a lot to be said for this card. It's a shame he's only standard form. However you train, there will be 1 or 2 attributes a bit on the low side, like tight possession, especially. Arguably the balance as well, but he's got plenty of qualities. And it's a trainable one, of course, so you can shuffle the points around depending on what suits you. But yeah, 1 or 2 slight downsides of skills as well. You will need to give him a few skills, but it's Hakimi. I think most of us know what to expect from a Hakimi card by now, and it is one of the better versions of Hakimi that we've had. So if you like Hakimi, you want a good version of him for a nominating contract, 5-star contract. You can't really go wrong. It's a good version of him. If you like him, if you like the playing style, it's a good card. And our last 5-star, we have Pedri. We have our second mid-season MVP, Pedri. Of course, he's got his face scan. He's an orchestrator these days. He's not always been an orchestrator. I think he's usually I think for the most part, he's a creative playmaker. Unwavering form. Got a few positions he can play. Let's just jump straight over to eFootball Hub. How good is this Pedri card? It's pretty good. So the best Pedri is obviously the Showtime one that we had. Doesn't really compare to that, although it's still a great card. We've had a few player of the week versions of him. The stats tend to get shuffled around, different playing styles. We've had a creative playmaker player of the week, a left wing, I think it was, from Champions League. There's a left mid or centre mid hole player, which I use as a left mid. That's quite an old one now, still great though. This matches up to those. Obviously, this is trainable though, so you can train it for whatever position you want. Shuffle the stats around, the training points, however you like. But certainly compared to the play week ones outside the playing style, this one definitely matches up. The previous mid-season MVP was a creative playmaker, not an orchestrator, but very, very similar to this one. The only real difference, the attributes are very similar on the whole. The only real difference is that this one's got heel trick instead of long-range shooting, which is what was on the previous mid-season MVP. If you compare them to the previous orchestrator trainable cards, the previous feature versions of Pedri that we've had with the orchestrator playing style, they're very similar, to be honest. We've had one from a La Liga pack, one from some kind of Legend or Showtime pack. I think it's Spanish midfielders or something. I think one was in a Spain pack. If you're comparing it to those, very similar. If you've got one of those, you don't need this one, in my opinion. It's pretty much the same. And yeah, it's a good version of Pedri. It's one of the better versions of Pedri. Sure, it doesn't match up to the Showtime one, but compared to most of the other ones, it's right up there. I think it's a good version of Pedri, this. I think the playing style might be the one thing that might sway it for a lot of people, but might have been an issue for you. Previously, as a creative playmaker would have been active left mid, left wing, attacking mid, but not centre mid. This is the opposite. An orchestrator, that will be an active playing style at centre mid, but not attacking mid, left mid, or left wing. That might be a good thing for you, might be a bad thing for me personally. It's a good thing because I don't particularly like the creative playmaker playing style out wide. And I usually use Pedri out wide as a left winger, as an inverted winger. So he won't have an active playing style left wing. That for me is fine. And that's probably how I'd use this guy. Look at the auto allocation. I mean, he's fantastic technically. There are some areas you'd like to probably like to improve. It just depends where you want to play him. So I'll start off with an orchestrator build. With their auto allocation orchestrator, I'm not so keen. I think as an orchestrator centre mid, he's going to be loitering around the middle of the park. He won't make many attacking runs. So you need a bit more physical strength and defending, in my opinion. So I'll start off as an orchestrator and then we'll work our way up the pitch. The 4 on passing and dribbling. The first 4 only cost 1 point each. Shooting not so important on orchestrator. So a bit more physical strength. We'll get him up to 70 at least for physical strength. Can we make him better defensively? Make him a bit better. Need a bit more kicking power there. I think I'm just going to do that. One more defending. Yeah, I think as an orchestrator, it might be a little bit controversial to a lot of people to take a whole bunch of points away from his technicals, but if he's going to be playing quite deep as a kind of deep lane playmaker, you do need a bit of defensive ability, a bit more physical strength. So for me personally, in that position, with the orchestrator playing style active, I would go for a build similar to that. Skill-wise, he's got pretty much everything technically, but defensively, I would put interception on him as a minimum, as a defensive skill. Interception, I think, will be crucial if you're going to use him as an orchestrator. I know the focus of Pedri is not going to be on defending, but he does need to defend if he's playing that deep on the field. So that's what I'd do if I was playing him as an orchestrator centre mid. If you wanted him to play further up the pitch, a more attacking build, you could just forget all the defending, all that physical. We'll just start off with the auto allocation, actually. The emphasis then would be, for me, a bit more pace, attacking awareness, I think certainly dexterity, a bit more finishing, maybe speed as well. We'll see what we can do. So take a load of points back off passing again and dribbling. This is just what I personally do. I know some people have panned me for this, but this is what I personally do. So, it's 4 on defending. I'll take those, thank you. How high can we go on the lower body? We can go... You got up to 12. See, once you go from 12 to 13, it goes to increases of 4. We do have the points, and it means the speed goes up by 2 because we're at that mark, the 86, 88 mark. I would do that, to be honest. If I was going to play him as a left mid, I think I would do that. And that. Yeah, as a left mid, that's how I think I would build him. So you get a speed and acceleration at 88. Fantastic balance. Amazing stamina. Still very nice in the ball. Still got good passing. Very good passing for a winger. We've got the finish coming to the 70s. We've got the curl up to 80. And the attacking awareness up to 80 as well. Playing without an active playing style left wing, I think he would do pretty well. I think that build might work pretty nicely. Has he got long range curler? He's not. So he's got the passing. If you're going to play him as a left wing, I would give him long range curler. He could have a decent long range curler on him. Obviously the finishing is not great, but curl's decent, kicking power's decent. Yeah, as a left wing, I'd build him like that. As an attacking mid, the pace is not so important. So let's just take 4 off there. We'll leave the kicking power at 80. What do we need to do on attacking mid? And get that finishing up. And then 4 left. Probably just stick them. I'll probably just do that, something like that. So yeah, not such an emphasis on speed, but get that finishing up a little bit. And he's get a little bit higher on the technicals here. There's an attacking mid. I'll do something like that. And he looks very nice. I mean, you might feel like you need him less speed than that, but because you're going up to 9 on lower body, but the kicking power comes with the speed, and that kicking power is important. 80 is a bit on the low side for me. I like mid 80s minimum for kicking power, so you'd have to scrimp quite a few points to get that higher. So yeah, the speed might be more than you feel you need in an attacking mid, but the kicking power is something I think you need to keep in mind. Still got great balance and yeah, great technicals. I think as an attacking mid, I'll do something like that. And I think it could be pretty nice if you're playing without an active playing style there. But yeah, if that doesn't bother you, it doesn't bother me personally. I think it'll be fine. The attacking mid is at 80. You'll be making enough attacking runs. I think you'd do a very nice job there as an attacking mid. You could actually use him as a right mid. If you went back to the build that I did before, we sacked off the finishing. If you wanted this guy as a right mid, if you like your cross spam, you want to put a lot of crosses in, We got speed, we got to 88. Oh, nearly. Nick one from shooting. You could set him up as a right mid and position training for the right wing, because he does have pinpoint crossing. He's got the passing, of course. It's lovely on the ball. Even if you take a bunch of points off his dribbling, still 90 plus on the ball down there, but great low pass, lofted at 88. A little bit of curl on him. Decent kicking power. He's got just enough speed as a winger. Great balance. As a right winger, whipping crosses in could be effective there as well. So, yeah, you got a bunch of ways you could use this guy. For some people, maybe auto allocation will be fine. Just technically supreme there, but I personally would do what I've just done there and shuffle some points around, depending what position you use him. But depending where you use him, you've got a few ways you can use him: wide left, through the middle, centre mid, attacker mid, maybe even on the right with the position training. Centre forward, I think someone in the Discord was saying that they train their Pedri as a centre forward. Sound a bit crazy to me, but can you do it? Oh, I don't know. You can get the awareness just about borderline okay, but finishing 76, not for me. So yeah, I wouldn't do that. But you've got a bunch of ways you can use him. Centre mid, attacker mid, over on the left, maybe position training for the right. Like I say, as an orchestrator, comparing it to previous orchestrated versions of Pedri, he's around about the same level, so he's a good version of him as an orchestrator, and just in general, he matches up to most versions of him apart from the Showtime, to be honest. So if you want a good Pedri card, great one to pick up for a 5-star contract. If you've already got a good one, you might not need him, to be honest, because there are quite a few good ones by now, but certainly if you don't have a good one already, and if you want one, then for a 5-star nominating contract for essentially a free 5-star card, this is fantastic. So my recommendations for 5 stars out of this selection: you want a good goalie, De Gea is a good goalie card. You want a good centre back, Buongiorno is a good centre back card. I think this Torreira is a defensive midfielder. I think a lot of people might overlook him, but he looks neat to me. The way they boosted him in a few areas, especially the physical contact. He looks very capable as a defensive mid. He might be one that you might need to put a defensive instruction on him, hold him back, and just focus on his strengths and take a bit of the importance away from the attacking awareness and through passing, which are the 2 areas where he is lacking. But outside the 2 areas where he's really lacking, he looks really neat to me. And in my experience of using a version that's not as good as this, he's been good for me. So this card for me is one I'm seriously considering. And in Pedri, I mean, what needs to be said about Pedri? We all know how good Pedri is. It's a good version of him. It just goes without saying that for a 5-star nominated contract, he's fantastic value. So for me, these 4 probably be the 4 that I'd recommend. There are a few other decent ones as well. It's just my personal opinion, of course, like with everything that I say in these videos. But these 4 for me, I personally feel are the best value for a 5-star nominated contract this time around. So now on to Match Pass. We start with the maths as always. So the sale's not on anymore. So the only discount you're going to get is if it's the first time you purchase either of these. So the first time you purchase the value, you'll get half price, and likewise with the premium. The full price is 500 value, 1,000 premium, and if you complete all the matches, the total coins that you'll get back from your rewards is 230 from the value, 340 from the premium. So those are numbers for you to chew on if you're thinking about getting one of these match passes. But I think most of us know the deal now with match pass. The value we get Gyökeres, premium we get Cole Palmer. Let's have a look at those 2 players and we'll see how good they are. So we'll start with Mr. Value Match Pass, Viktor Gyökeres. Maxed out, fully boosted. He's decent. So we've had a couple of Player of the Week cards for Gyökeres, and this is better. The one thing I'd say for one of those 2, the Champions League Player of the Week one, they did make that one better at jumping. They gave him a nice boost in his jumping, and they gave him aerial superiority as well. So if you want a Gyökeres who's going to be really good in the air, then that Champions League Player of the Week one does look like it's better, at least in that department. But on the whole, this does look better than both the Player of the Week versions of Gyökeres that we've had. The other version we've had of Gyökeres was in some kind of legend pack. I think it was European Clubs Attackers, something like that. This is very similar overall. A bunch of stats have been shuffled around a bit. So overall ability, very similar to that one. Just like I say, a bunch of the attributes are a bit higher, a bit lower. So this is a good version of Gyökeres. We've got a goal poacher, we've got pace, we've got the awareness, just about got the finishing borderline. Not too bad on the ball for goal poacher. Very strong physically, just maybe he's lacking a bit of balance really, but on the whole, good goal poacher card this. I think, this is a player who a lot of people are a fan of. I know a lot of people comment either on the YouTube comments or on Discord or whatever, saying they like this guy, they want a good version. I can see a lot of people picking up the value match pass for this guy. 500 minus the 230 get back, so what, 270 coins is that? I think for a lot of people that's going to be good value to get this guy. He looks like a very decent goal poacher. So compared to his GP, the boost is decent. And the areas where they're boosting the most seem to be acceleration, kicking power, jumping, and on the ball. And yeah, like I say, looking at him overall, looks decent. The one thing I'd like to do is to be able to get that finishing up to the 90 mark. Question is where you get the points to do that. I think realistically, I wouldn't want to go below 90 on the dexterity or on acceleration, so I wouldn't take him for dexterity. Likewise, kicking power at 90, I wouldn't want to take him from lower body. So yeah, I'm not sure where you get the points from, to be honest. Maybe you would just have to accept his acceleration and dip a little bit and do that. Might be worth doing that. He's got the speed over 90. Just nice to hit that 90 mark finishing. It's not going to make a massive difference, obviously, but yeah, I wouldn't really do a great deal. I think the only thing you might want to do is Gyökeres. If you want him as a goal poacher, as a real out-and-out goal poacher, use his pace to get him behind and take chances for you. I think the auto allocation will just slightly tweaking it like that. You'd have a very nice poacher in your hands. Just be a little bit careful with the balance. But yeah, he's a good version of Gyökeres. If you want him to be a bit better in the air, he is just over 6'1". He's physically strong. He's got heading and accurate finishing. You could put aerial superiority on him. And just to go over his skills, actually, because I didn't look at his skills yet. He's got a first-time shot, most important one on a striker, of course. Acrobatic finishing, rising shots, and like I say, heading. So yeah, good selection of skills. You might want to give him a long-range curler, actually. That's the only one I think is really important for him. Although his passing is pretty bad, so one-touch passing, through passing would help as well if you can afford the skill trainers. But yeah, the only other way you might want to train him, if you gave him aerial superiority, you could scrimp a bit on his finishing and awareness, and just try and beef up his aerial. How high could he get the aerial? Yeah, that's not too bad. I mean, maybe you could just go to 8 and you got 5 points left. You could at least, I mean, what would you put it on? Back on acceleration, I guess. Maybe nudge his passing up a bit. In fact, you could put those last few on goalkeeper 1, couldn't you? I do like a few sneaky points on goalkeeper 1. Yeah, so you could make him pretty decent. Yeah, if you gave him aerial superiority, still got very decent awareness and finishing, just not quite at the 90 mark. It's still got good pace and kicking power, but we've got the physical over 90, got the jumping 82. So with aerial superiority, you could make him decent in the air. I don't think he's going to be a monster in the air. The jump height there, 270, is not amazing, but it's decent. And he is physically strong, which does help a lot with it winning headers. So yeah, you could build him that way as well. But either way, you build him like that, make him better in the air. Or if you just go with something like the auto allocation, I think as a goal poacher, it's a very decent card. And I think for people who are a fan of this guy, and I know a lot of people are a fan of this guy, I think this could be a very decent one to pick up for the value match pass. Just a question of how much you can, how many coins you got, and whether you can afford to spare them. That's down to you to decide. But certainly, apart from the fact he's not great at passing, which you can improve with the passing skills if you wanted to do that, and his balance isn't brilliant. Apart from that, physically strong, pace, awareness, finishing. It's a very decent looking goal poacher card, this. I can see a lot of people picking this guy up. And we finish up with Mr. Premium Match Pass, Cole Palmer. We have another Cole Palmer card. Do we really need another Cole Palmer card? I would say no, because he's already in the penalty game. So the vast majority of us are already going to get that version for free. So yeah, I'm not sure how necessary it was to put Cole Palmer in. I think there are a lot of players they could have put in would have been a better choice in my personal opinion, but that's just my opinion. So all trained up and boosted. This is unsurprisingly a good version of Palmer. It is slightly better than the one in the penalty game. A few stats kind of shuffled around by a few points, but yeah, it's slightly better than the one in the penalty game on the whole. Not a massive difference though. So like I say, with most of us getting that one for the penalty game, I don't really see that much appeal to spending 1,000 coins on this one, but yeah, there we go. Comparing to other versions, that we've had Showtime Cole Palmer, which is obviously the best one, but not a massive difference to be fair. This isn't a million miles away from the Showtime version. It's better than the two creative playmaker versions we've had in Player of the Week of Cole Palmer. As the other two Player of the Week ones, there was two whole players. This is better than one of them, but the other whole player is pretty similar overall, to be honest. Just the stats are kind of shuffled around a bit. So if you got that whole Player of the Week, and if you prefer a whole player, you might prefer that one to this one. But yeah, it's and there's a whole player from a trainable whole player. I think I've got that one actually from I think a legend pack. It's not quite as good as this one, but again, stats are shuffled around a bit. So you may well have a version of Palmer that's either as good as this or not far off. So I'm not sure how many people are going to be rushing to spend 1,000 coins on this one, but it is a good card, of course. If you don't have a good version of Palmer, and if you don't get the one for the penalty game, yeah, it's a good card. As you can see, technically great. Elsewhere, no major weaknesses. He's not the quickest. But yeah, there's no major weaknesses really. This is a really, really nice card, this Cole Palmer card. From his GP card, the areas they boosted him the most are speed, balance, a bit more end product as well. Nice boost on his physical contact as well. So yeah, it's a good version of Cole Palmer. It's one of the better versions of Cole Palmer, as you'd expect from a premium match pass card. Would I do much with his build as an attack midfielder? I would maybe give him a bit more speed and kicking power, to be honest. Yeah, they've only put 4 on there, so there's definitely scope for that. So if we take a few from his dribbling, leave all those 90 plus, that's 9 points. We can go straight up to 8 on lower body. Or maybe just do that, to be honest. And then you've got 1 point left. You sneak that an area or get his physical contact to 70. Yeah, job done. I would probably do that. I think that looks pretty nice. Good passing. He's got 1 touch and through, I think. Yep, so we've got 1 touch pass, through passing. And then with the shooting, of course, got first time shot, long range shooting, long range curler, soul control as well. Got chip shot control. We've got the shooting, we've got the passing. He's not got outside curler. 1-footed player, Cole Palmer. So I would put outside curler on him. I think that's the first skill that I'd look to put on him. Maybe he's weighted pass after that. I think those are the 2 that I'd look to put on him that he probably needs, really. Beyond that, I'm not sure there's anything he desperately needs. It might just be some skill moves. If you're a dribbler, you like doing his skill moves, double touch and stuff like that. But yeah, outside curler, I think is the one he probably needs the most. And then maybe his weighted pass, but he's got the shooting and passing skills there. He's got really good technicals there on the ball and with his passing. The attacking when it's at 85 is good. Finishing at 85 is really good in an attack midfielder. He's not the quickest, but he's not slow either. He's got reasonable pace. Decent kicking power after boosting it a bit. Nudged that physical contact up to 70, which is fine on an attacking player. Balance is okay at 85. Could be better. He's a tall guy, Cole Palmer. So balance isn't amazing. Although he does have good technicals on the ball. They should be decent on the ball. But I don't know how good he'd be for the dribblers. If you really like your dribbly players, you know, you want to do his skill moves and dribble past defenders. I'm not sure how great it'd be with the height of 6 foot, 6'2", 6'3". Not brilliant balance, but yeah, certainly technically very nice in the ball, very tidy in possession. Stamina's good as well. So there's a lot to be said for this Palmer card. To do a couple of other builds, you could use him wide right or up front. Let's start with wide right. So wide right, you really just need more pace on him. The passing won't be as important. If you take 4 off passing, you don't need those points on finishing, to be fair, strictly speaking. It's just a question of how quick we can make this guy. I think that's about as quick as we can make him. And I'll stick 1 back on shoot and get some curl back up to 80. Wide right, I'll probably do that. So we can get the speed and acceleration up to the high 80s. Kicking power 90, which is great. You'd have a pretty nice long range curl on. Finishing 82, curl 80, kicking power 90. Still pretty tidy in the ball, which is important, of course, for a winger. We've taken some points in passing because it's not as important as a wide man, but it's still 86 low pass. Still got very nice attacking awareness there. That's up to 88. Balance up to 88 as well. Yeah, as a wide right, could be pretty nice. I think then there might be more emphasis on putting skill moves on him. For those who like doing skill moves as a winger, it will be more important, I guess. But with the core attributes, I think it'd be pretty usable coming off that right flank onto his left foot. Very good left foot on him. And then centre forward. Can we make him a centre forward? Ooh, hello. Yes. I didn't realise he was going to be that good as a centre forward. So that's just with the auto allocation. He will be playing without an active playing style. Creative playmaker will be his playing style. All his positions except for centre forward. So no active playing style as a centre forward, but you can't play him there. And as you can see, pretty interesting looking. So the awareness and finishing at 90. The pace is decent. Certainly acceleration at 90. Balance at 90. Bit of physical strength about him. Great stamina. Very tidy on the ball for centre forward. Decent passing for a centre forward. There's an option for you. Yeah, I hadn't really considered that, but you've definitely got that option there. He's got first time shot already. He's got the shooting skills. You might just want to give him acrobatic finishing. Maybe his heading is a tall guy. Certainly acrobatic finishing and outside curler still. Whatever position you play him in, I think outside curler is important. But yeah, you've got an option there. I don't think I'll stray far from the auto allocation as a centre forward, to be honest. I think what you've got there as a centre forward is pretty decent. I mean, you could take the 4 off early if you want. You can get his ball control and tight possession back up to 90. Yikes. That's definitely an option for you. So yeah, you've got a few options with this Cole Palmer card. Wide right could be very good. Through the centre as a playmaker, kind of number 10, could be very good. And apparently as a centre forward, he could be pretty decent as well. So yeah, I'm guessing with most Palmer cards, though, you can make him a decent centre forward, though. So I don't think, like I started saying early on when I started looking at this card, we've had good versions of him. I think most of us have probably got at least one good version of him. So I think it's a strange choice for the premium match pass player, especially with him, primarily with him being in the penalty game awards. So most of us are going to get him for free from there. Yes, this card is a bit better than that one, but there's not a massive difference. So I don't see a great deal of appeal to this premium match pass unless you're someone who just, for whatever reason, you don't think you're going to get the one from the penalty game. And if you don't already have a good version of him, because this is a good version of him, I don't see many people seeing enough reason to spend 1,000 coins on him. Granted, you get a few hundred of those coins back, but it's still, what, 600 or 700 coins it's going to end up costing you. Don't know if it's going to be worth it for most people, but if you do want a good Palmer card, if you're not expecting to get them on from the penalty game, whether it's a crazy centre forward build, whether you're using wide right, or whether you use them as an attacking mid, auto allocation, or the way I've been tweaking the training points the way they're allocated, I think you've got a very good card here. Wide right through the middle, maybe a cheeky centre forward, but yeah, no matter how good he is, just don't know how good value is considering the other options that are available. But look at it in isolation for sure. It's a very good card, no question. So there are all of your nominating contract players and the match pass players. Hopefully you found this useful to help you to decide which ones to use your coins on and your nominating contracts and so on. As I mentioned at the start, that Asian pack I think is a bit of a slap in the face, to be honest. I don't want to complain too much, but I just don't see the point of it. I just don't see many people getting much value out of it. Sure, there are people who play the game from Japan, of course, and then other Asian countries, Iraq, Uzbekistan, Indonesia, and so on, who find those cards really useful. But for most of the player base, I think that pack is just full of duds. So that pack alone is a real disappointment. But if you look at the other packs, I think there are a few decent ones in the Turkish pack. And there are some very nice 5-stars as well. So there are some good players to pick up from your nominating contracts, certainly a 4 and 5-star this time. And the 2 match pass players, I'm not sure too many people are going to be shouting out for Cole Palmer, but certainly Gyökeres I think will be very popular. So yeah, for a lot of people I think there'll be some decent players available from out of these packs and from match pass. And like I say, hopefully I've helped you to make your decisions on who to use your contracts and your coins on. So thank you for watching. As always, I'll be taking a look at the new penalty reward players, Vitor Bayer and Conte. I'll be doing a video reviewing those soon, so keep your eyes out for that one. And yeah, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll be seeing you soon. Take it easy.